on, everybody? Welcome into the Jays Digest pregame show. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis. No Nick Gosse today. I'm going to be doing this one solo, but I want to thank each and every one of you for the support that you've given to Nick, that you've given to myself as well. It means the world to us. I'm going to be previewing the rubber match between the Angels and the Toronto Blue Jays, just about 35 minutes away from first pitch. I cannot wait for this one. A chance to go 6-4 on the 10-game road trip to start the season. It's a good opportunity for the Blue Jays. 6-4 sounds a lot better than 5-5 going into the home opener. So I'm excited for it. Let's get right into it. Let's get into the lineups here. So the lineup previews, a good lineup for the Blue Jays. This is not a must-win game, but it is pretty important heading into the home opener against Detroit on Tuesday, which I will be going to, by the way. So if any of you that are there want to come say what's up to me, just let me know. Text me on my personal Instagram. I'll be happy to come say what's up. So this is the Toronto Blue Jays lineup today. George Springer is DHing, not in the field today, so that's important to note. Bo Bichette back at shortstop after a couple of rough games in a row. Then you have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. batting third at first base. Matt Chapman sticks in the 4-hole ahead of Dalton Varsho playing left field against another lefty. So let's see how he holds his own against another left-handed pitcher here. Whit Merrifield in right field, replacing George Springer over there, batting sixth. Santiago Espinal back against the lefty at second base. Danny Jansen catching, so the stomach bug is gone. He's feeling okay, apparently, and he's back in the lineup. And Kevin Kiermaier back in the lineup as well, playing center field, batting ninth. And Yusei Kikuchi on the mound, of course. So this is going to be a big test for him and a big test for the Blue Jays just in general, because Reed Detmers is no walk in the park. And we'll get into the Angels lineup right now. Taylor Ward leading off, playing left field. Mike Trout in center field, batting second. Shohei Ohtani batting third, DHing. No surprise in the top three. And Anthony Rendon back at third base after serving his 4-game suspension and playing yesterday night, of course. So he's batting cleanup. Hunter Renfroe in right field, batting fifth. Brandon Drury at first base, batting sixth. Luis Rengifo hit the big home run off of Jose Barrios yesterday. He's batting seventh. Gio Urshela had a couple of knocks in yesterday's game. And Logan O'Hoppe, he's been very impressive in this series so far for me. So this is going to be a tough matchup for the Blue Jays. Like I said, 6-4 sounds a lot better than 5-5 heading into Tuesday. Kikuchi has a career ERA over 8 at Angel Stadium, same as Barrios, so it could be another interesting game. It's definitely going to be an interesting game. I don't know how the ball flies at Angel Stadium, especially in the daytime. It is a bigger ballpark, so it remains to be seen, but it's probably the strongest lineup of the series that the Blue Jays have put out. Obviously, Bassett did his thing in Game 1, Barrios struggled in Game 2, and hopefully Yusei Kikuchi, same thing like he did last time against the Royals. Just find a way to grind it out and stay the course and keep the Blue Jays in the game. So there's no rapid fire questions today. So there's a new segment for the solo pregame streams. It's the keys to the game. Now I'm gonna get into this now, and the first key to the game is obviously Yusei Kikuchi. He needs to go, I believe, at least five innings. He's got to give him good length. You got the day off tomorrow, so you can use everyone in the bullpen, use that day tomorrow to recharge, and then get back at it on Tuesday against the Tigers. So I'm looking for length out of Yusei Kikuchi. That's my number one key today. The second key of the game, the top 5 in the order have been doing their things, and that's the most important thing. So the top 5, I need them to keep doing what they're doing, but that's not the key to the game. The key to the game is 6 through 9. What are they going to be able to do today against Reed Detmers? So I'll pop up the lineup one more time here. 6 through 9, that means Whit Merrifield, Santiago Espinal, Danny Jansen, Kevin Kiermaier. What are they going to do against a tough lefty in Reed Detmers? That's a big key to the game, because we know 1 through 5, they're going to do their thing. They have done all season, just that. But can they stay the course? Can they get on base to turn it over to that top-heavy lineup that the Blue Jays have shown to have this year? Another key to the game is just error-free baseball. It's easier said than done with this team, especially with Bo Bichette at shortstop. Now, I want error-free baseball. That's the number one key for me, I think. That's got to be it. That's got to be it. Error-free baseball. Nick Gosse, let's go, baby. Let's go. Nick in the chat here. Happy Easter to each and every one of you. I didn't mention it. I mentioned it in the video beforehand, but thanks to each and every one of you that's in here. Cannot wait for this game. We got an off day tomorrow, so let's enjoy this game today. Let's hope it's a good one, and let's recharge the battery for Tuesday. Jansen hopefully has a good game. Yeah, Jansen is due for one. I mean, he's been out with a stomach bug, so that's been tough for him, especially since he's needed to get going there. But hopefully he can bounce back today. Rough start for him and Alejandro Kirk as well. Now, okay, I said there were going to be no rapid fire question, but since Nick is in here, I will ask you guys some questions. Now, I said this to Nick on text before. I said I want the Blue Jays to trade for Joey Wendell and play him as the everyday shortstop and move Bo Bichette to second base. Trade Espinal or Santiago Espinal or Kevin Biggio for some pitching depth. What do you guys think of those potential moves that I just mentioned? Yeah, hit the like button. That's for sure. I don't have the fancy graphics that Nick does, because if I were to have those, my laptop would probably explode. So, yeah, no graphics today, but hopefully Nick can be back for Tuesday. I mean, I'll be at the game Tuesday, so we'll get at it. Joey Wendell cannot hit, but he is a former Ray, and we said the same thing about Kevin Kiermaier. So that's my thing. I think the lineup is good enough that you could have someone that is not a good hitter. I think that's the best course of action. Get an everyday shortstop that you know is going to play solid defense over there. It doesn't have to be Gold Glove. It just has to be able to make the routine plays, and that's one thing that Bo has not been able to do, and it's frustrating because his bat is so good. He'd be the best second baseman in the sport if he wanted to move over there, but it's not the case. He wants to stick at shortstop. Yes, I take that right now. Bo needs to move to second ASAP. I don't think you can afford to give away games. Now, I'm not putting yesterday's game on Bo Bichette because the counter argument is saying, if you don't have Bo Bichette in your lineup, then you probably don't make the playoffs last year. I mean, he was the hottest hitter down the stretch in all of baseball. So, I don't know. I think defense is the most important thing there. So your theory is that because he's back in the AL East, Peter, then he'll hit better. No, that's not my theory. My theory is that he was brought up with the Tampa Bay Rays, and he had some good years over there. And we see what Kevin Kiermaier is doing. I mean, he plays the game the right way, as does Joey Wendell. He's been in deep playoff runs. He's only made 6 errors in his career at shortstop. Now he's bounced around. He's played second base. He's played third base. He's played shortstop as well. So I would go. I would definitely go after Joey Wendell. I would do it. Only made 6 errors in over 100 games at shortstop in his career. So why not? Why not go ahead and do it? I think it could be a play. I definitely think it's a move that the Jays should explore. Not necessarily Joey Wendell, but, someone else. Someone else. I think if Bo was at second, that would degrade his value. He would get paid less in free agency, and Bo doesn't like that. Did you ask him, Owen? You don't know. You don't know what Bo wants. I'd like to think that Bo Bichette wants to win. And I would hope that he does. I would hope that he does because he's the shortstop on a team that hopes to contend. So if he understands that, then he'll move over to second base if he wants to win. But if he's selfish, then he won't. J-Rock saying, I like it. Bo has to realize that team winning is more important. Are there any better options? Would Wendell be any better than Espy? 6 errors in 100 games? I mean, that's on pace for 10. That's on pace for 10 errors. And another thing, only 2 throwing errors. 2 throwing errors. So that's another little wrinkle that stands out to me about Joey Wendell. Espinal doesn't have a great arm, so I don't know how great he would be. I don't know how great he would be over there. And Joey Wendell's a lefty as well. I say that, Peter, is because shortstop is the bigger market position to be competing with others. And yeah, Owen, I understand that, but the Blue Jays' main objective is to win. The main objective here is to win, and you don't not if you have to hurt Bo Bichette's feelings to go ahead and win, then you do that. I mean, if he requests a trade from moving to second base, then it's probably best to just move on from him anyways. I don't understand what the whole dilemma here is. I don't understand. Barger could play shortstop, yeah, but he's not in the big leagues yet. He's not proven. So I don't want to jump the gun on Addison Barger yet. I want him to develop and not be forced into those roles. And he's not a great defensive shortstop either. He profiles a lot better at third base. So I don't know if I'd go with Addison Barger quite yet. Maybe next year. But I'll keep touching on Bo here. I don't know. I just think you gotta be able to have these tough decisions internally, and I'm not sure if Bo said that, Chuck, but if he did, then all the more reason to go ahead and do that. Are we going to use Merrifield full-time outfield in that scenario? I'm not sure how the logistics of it would work. All I know is that the Blue Jays need an everyday shortstop, and I'll give the example of Troy Tulowitzki. When Jose Reyes was on this team, he was a great leadoff hitter. He was a spark plug in that offense, but he was not good defensively. He was atrocious. Then when the Blue Jays went out and acquired Troy Tulowitzki at the deadline, they went from a 500 team to a World Series contender. That's all I'm going to say. Now, Troy Tulowitzki, his bat turned into a wet noodle once he got to Toronto. He had a couple of good games, a couple of good weeks at a time, but he was not the same hitter that he was in Colorado. And, I mean, obviously, not the same ballpark. He's getting a little bit older, a little past his prime. It's to be expected. So he was not the same hitter once he got to Toronto, but his defense was still all-world. It was all-world, and that was all the difference that the Blue Jays needed. Every time it was hit to shortstop, you could basically add an out to the tally. He was that good defensively. And I think if the Blue Jays get a stud defensive shortstop, they are a World Series contender. But right now, as it stands, Bo, I think, will be the downfall of this team. Because as good as he is with his bat, it cancels out defensively. It doesn't matter how many good people you surround him with, how many good defenders you surround him with, whether it be at third base, second base, first base, in the outfield. Shortstop is a crucial position. You cannot sacrifice defense at catcher, at shortstop, and at center field. The catching defense is fine. Alejandro Kirk and Danny Jansen, serviceable. Shortstop defense, atrocious. And center field, I mean, all world, Kevin Kiermaier, but you need a good defensive shortstop. Peter, why do you think the Blue Jays haven't moved Bichette to second base already? I wish I had the answer, Mike. I wish I had the answer. And I would have done it yesterday if I would have done it yesterday, man. I would have done it yesterday. It just makes no sense to me. I don't know why they haven't explored it. Nick, man, Tulo will always be a hero for that. He's a hero in my eyes. He was my favorite player growing up when he was with Colorado. That's why I nearly shed a tear when the Jays went out and acquired him. Defense is the most important thing up the middle. And I said it, and I'll say it again. Whatever he does with the bat, he gives it up with the glove. That's how it is. Bo looks slick out there, and on the surface, he looks like a slick defender. But in reality, he's I don't think he's slick. I don't think he's a slick defender. I think he's very nervous. His arm, he short arms everything. He doesn't have the arm strength to make the throw, to make those tough throws. Now, though, they'd have to play Espinal every day, and I don't think he's good enough to play 150 games. No, he's not. He's not, and that's the reason as to why I'd go out and trade for Wendell. Now, I'm not saying Wendell is a better hitter than Santiago. I'm just saying he's a lefty, adds a bit of a different wrinkle to that lineup. Bo's 3-run homer the other day was worth 1 WAR alone. Anyone would want Bo on their team, get rid of Belt, and make Bo the full-time DH. Anyone would want Bo on their team, but he's not a World Series caliber shortstop. He just isn't, and we have to stop lying to ourselves. He's probably the best hitter on the team. I'm not disputing that. He might be the best hitter on the team, and when he's going right, when he's hot, he's a top 10 hitter in the league. Maybe even top 5, you can argue. But he's atrocious at shortstop. He's awful. He's horrible on the defensive end. Awful. The fact that we have to hold our breath for every single play Bo makes, even just fielding. Exactly, that's the thing. There's no confidence. And you got to look at it this way. You have at least 3 pitch-to-contact guys. In Alek Manoah, you have Jose Barrios, and Chris Bassett. Those are 3 pitch-to-contact guys. And you have a black hole at shortstop. You hit it there, and it just... You don't know where it's going. No one is complaining about Bo's bat. Yeah, I'm not complaining about his bat. I think it's an MVP caliber bat. It's a Hall of Fame caliber bat. But he's not a shortstop. And not only is he not made improvements, he's worse than he was last year, which is even scary. It's scary to think about. Okay, we'll get into bold predictions because Nick wants to. Shout out to Nick for being here. Shout out to each and every one of you. Let's hit the like button here. What do you think the Marlins might want for him? Okay, I'll answer this question before I get into bold predictions here. I would think a prospect. I was thinking maybe Josh Kasevich, who's a shortstop in the Blue Jays farm system out of Oregon. Pretty good player. Peter's on fire also forgets that the Jays made moves in addition to... Yes, I know that they made other moves. They got David Price. They did what they had to do to make themselves a World Series contender. They got Jason Grilli as well. They made additions to the bullpen. But Troy Tulowitzki was a catalyst for this team, and his bat went cold. He had a couple of big hits. He made some big plays on the offensive end, but his defense was unbelievable. I don't think he made an error. Every throw was on the money. His range was impeccable, even at 30 or 32, whenever they got him. Bold prediction, Kiermaier hits a home run. The Marlins would want a top 20 prospect. I'll give them a top 10 prospect if it shores up our shortstop defense. Thanks for always reminding me to like, because I always have. Now, okay, let's get into the bold predictions. My bold prediction today is that Yusei Kikuchi goes 6 scoreless innings with 8 strikeouts. Now, he only had 2 strikeouts in his first start, and he was fantastic. He did what he had to do against the Royals. He gave the boys a chance to win. So I'm going Kikuchi strikes out 8 and pitches 6 scoreless. I don't know if you guys like that. What up, Peter Letang? Let's get it today. Any thoughts on Bichette's defensive woes? Pistol, you missed it. I just went on like a 10-minute rant about his defensive woes, man. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about it anymore. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. You missed it. Petey. You could go ahead and rewind the stream though, if you want to go ahead and do that. Nick with a Bo home run and an error. Now that's not too bold, considering that literally happened yesterday. So I think that's that's not too bold, dude. That's a bold take for sure. All right, cool. I think Kikuchi will give up 3 runs in 5 innings. I think that's realistic with how loaded the Angels lineup is. Now, I like your bold prediction a lot, Peter. Nice. I'm dead, man. Well, yeah, you just missed it, Pistol. You just missed it, but you can go ahead and rewind. It's a pretty good chunk of the start of the pregame stream. I'm sure you'll go ahead and catch it. Bold prediction, Biggio pinch hits for Jansen after Jansen vomits on the field from his stomach bug. Biggio homers. Love it. Love to hear it. Hopefully Jansen doesn't vomit on the field. That'd be very unfortunate, but definitely could happen. We turned a triple play from Rachid. I like it. I like it. Let's go. All right, guys. Let's. We're about 15 minutes away from first pitch here. Ask me questions, anything that you want to know about today's game. Cannot wait for the home opener. I'm going to be going to that. Peter, I agree with you on Bo. If the ball never bounced over Bo yesterday and that run never scored, Berríos would have never spiraled and he would have had a much better outing. Now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. It's very hard to predict how Berríos' starts are going to go. But no, I don't know. Maybe. But they gave him a hit on that play, a single and a two-base error. But I think that's a play that most major league shortstops make. It wasn't a routine play, and I said that it was a routine play on the video that we recorded, Nick and I, earlier today. But I stand corrected. It was not a routine play. However, most shortstops make that play because they got the range and they got the arm to make that throw. Bo Bichette didn't even get a glove on it. He just straight up drop kicked it into right center field. Absolute disaster of a play. And then Gio Urshela ends up at third base. A guy who's got the sprint speed of a tortoise. He ends up at third base because that ball was kicked into oblivion by Bo Bichette. And then that run scores. It's 4-1, and then the wheels fall off for Jose Berríos. So it didn't make sense to me. Question for Peter. Can you tell us how you really feel about defense up the middle? Look, I played baseball, man. I played baseball, and I played for a long time. Taking the summer off this year, going to focus a lot on this channel, and maybe I'll get back at it next year. But I played at a high level, and I understand how defense up the middle is crucial to a good team. Now, I played on some very good teams. I played on some very bad teams as well. When the teams were very good, I was a third baseman. When the teams were not so good, I was a shortstop. I'm not a shortstop, but I was forced into that position just because the teams had no one else. Or I was just forced to go play there in a pinch. Now, I'm not a bad shortstop, but I don't give the team the best chance to win over there just because my range is not as good as some of those other guys. Now, you need range. You need a great arm at shortstop. And that's how it is. That's how it is. Same thing for center field. You need a burner. You need a guy that's one of the fastest on the team. And catcher, you need a cannon of an arm. You need a guy that's smart and savvy behind the plate. And the Jays have 2 out of those 3 things. They have a good catcher, and they got a great center fielder. But shortstop, you just can't afford to throw anybody out there. Bo Bichette is not ready to be a major league shortstop. Now, they've done it for 4 years now. 4 years he's been a shortstop and hasn't gotten any better. In fact, he's gotten even worse. He's gotten worse this season. I didn't know that was possible. Great discussion. Seems to all agree something has to be done about the shortstop performance defense. Now, like I said, I'm a big fan of Bo Bichette. I love his bat. But we got to acknowledge that his defense is not World Series caliber. And do you trust him to make plays? Those routine plays in crucial moments of the game. Because in the regular season, there's going to be a lot of blowouts. There's going to be a lot of 10-5 games. There's going to be a lot of lopsided scores. In the playoffs, you don't have too many of those. There are a lot of close games. So, excuse me, a lot of close games in the playoffs. And you can't afford to have your shortstop be booting routine plays. That's how it is. How about this? Bo's going nowhere. Pop some Valium before the game. Keep the sound down when Bo's in the field and enjoy the batting. Alta, I wish I could. Now, I don't get carried away with my predictions or my takes, and I don't let the Blue Jays affect my everyday life. I have a lot of other things to worry about. So this is just a hobby for me. I'm a diehard Blue Jays fan, but I don't let them affect my day-to-day. I just know that something needs to change because we keep doing the same thing over and over again. And I love his bat. I love it to death. I think it's one of the best in the league. And then whatever he does with the bat, he gives it away with the glove. Yeah, so I think they'll at least ride with him for 2-3 years if that extension before deciding to part with him. Berríos keeps pitching the way he is. Would you bring up Tiedemann early? Because the fact of the matter is we're a contending team. We don't have time for Berríos to have another 5 ERA season now. I don't know what they're going to do with Jose Berríos. It's a tough call because they're paying him so much money. I think you give him a few more starts before you give him the Kikuchi treatment and you put him in the bullpen and let him figure it out over there. It's such a conundrum over there between him and the rest of the rotation. The rotation scares me. It really does. Now, the Jays, you can't limp it to the playoffs like you did last year. You got to get there and you got to be playing good baseball once you get in. So they got to figure something out. Hopefully Kikuchi sustains his level of play and hopefully Bassett can provide something. So that'll be interesting to follow as the season rolls along. We have Berríos through 28 unless he opts out. No way he's going to opt out. If he opts out, his agent deserves to be sent to Mars. Do you think Bassett has settled down? It's hard to say. It's just 2 starts. And same thing for Berríos. I'm going to give him some more time here. He wasn't good last year, but he still had 17 quality starts. So that's a good number. That's a good number. It was the same amount as Kevin Gausman did. So very little we disagree on, but Bichette will be our shortstop, and Richards will be amazing. Give it time. I don't know. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right, Sean, because I want Bo Bichette on this team, and he's such a good player, but he just needs to figure out the defensive side of things, and he works so hard. He just can't do it. It must be a confidence thing. That's all it is. Confidence and a mix of ability as well. Okay, we're around 10 minutes away from game time now. I cannot wait for this game. Happy Easter to each and every one of you that are in here right now. We'll get into the Q&A section here. So thanks to all of you for being in here again. Berríos pitches might work better on Mars. Maybe with the elevation. Although maybe he gets even rocked harder over there because of the altitude. Who knows? So what are you guys looking forward to the most in today's game? I think a pitcher like Bassett will continue to get more comfortable and better. Players like that need time to get that chemistry with the team catcher. Yeah, I agree. He's got a lot of pitches. He's still getting familiar with Alejandro Kirk and with Danny Jansen as well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily trust him come playoff time just because the stuff's not great. But his velocity was up a lot more in last start. So if he can keep that up over the course of the season, I'll be very excited for the prospects of Chris Bassett. Trevor's dad in the chat. Is that actually Trevor's dad? I don't think so. I don't believe it. Bo Bichette sounds like a character from Star Wars. Yeah, it does. Would you rather have Pop in the rotation than Berríos at this point? No, Pop's not ready, man. Pop's not ready to be a starter. I do think he's got potential to get there, but he's not ready quite yet, no. Richards and Berríos are proof that the Jays need a no-dyed hair rule. Is that Richards' actual hair? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Richards has the best spin rate in the MLB for his changeup. Yes, he's got a great pitch. His changeup is probably uncle. Nice. Well, shout out to you, Sean. Appreciate you being in here. Now, the issue that I have with Trevor is that his changeup is probably the best pitch on the team, behind Kevin Gausman's splitter, and that's make no bones about it. It's a great pitch. But he's got to be able to locate the fastball, and that's, if he can do that, then he's one of the best relievers on the team. But he hasn't been able to do that consistently. Now I hope he can figure it out. Yeah, I don't think Richards dyes his hair either. Now I don't know if this is actually his uncle or not. This is kind of tripping me out a little bit. Shout out to you, Sean, for being in here, and shout out to each and every one of you. Ask me questions. We are in the Q&A segment of the pregame show right now. So thanks again to all of you that are in here. Thanks for the continued support. We will see you again for a post-game live stream, I believe. I think that's the plan. Nick and I are going to fire that up once the game's over. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Hopefully we're talking about a win and a 6-4 record heading into Toronto. Hopefully we're not talking about a 500 record and another loss on the Blue Jays tally here. So about 5 minutes away from first pitch, Reed Detmers against Yusei Kikuchi. So a couple lefties going at it here. Not his uncle, just kidding. Yeah, I figured. I kind of held back just in case you were Richards' uncle. Will Nick be participating for the post-game stream? Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but he did tell me he could most likely be there. So we'll see. Adopted uncle. Sure, adopted uncle. All right, guys, ask me questions. We're a couple minutes away now from first pitch. I'm going to let you guys go a little bit earlier since I am doing this one solo. I want to be able to settle in, grab a beverage of choice, and just watch the game here. Mike, if Chapman continues to rake, do we realistically have a chance of re-signing him? That's tough. That's a tough question, Mike, and that's a very good question. I don't think he's going to continue this. I don't think he's going to continue this level of play. I don't see it happening. Obviously not. It's not sustainable. No one has ever hit the way that he's hitting over the course of a full season. But he is a very good player, and he's a reliable player. So I would look at re-signing him, but it all depends. It all depends on the number figure. It all depends on the years. Score predictions. Let's get into it. I almost forgot about that. Shout out to Nick for reminding me. Both Nicks for reminding me, actually. His changeup is Marco Estrada. Like, he'll be stellar. Hope you're right, Sean. I hope you're right. Score prediction for today. I said Yusei goes 6 scoreless innings, striking out 8. So I'm going to go 4-1 Jays. That's my prediction. And a 6-4 record heading into the new and improved Rogers Center, which I will be at, by the way, on Tuesday. So for those of you that will be at the Rogers Center on Tuesday for opening day, for the home opener, text me on Instagram. Let me know, and we'll link up and say what's up to one another. Do you think Belt is basically like Chris Davis of this year? No, it's too early for that. I don't want to draw any conclusions. I don't like doing that just 10 games into the season. I'm not going to do that. Peter, let's work something out to meet. Yeah, for sure. It all depends because there's a lot of train delays here in Montreal because of the power outages. So I'm not sure what time I'll get to Toronto exactly, but I'll let you know, Owen. I'll let you know for sure. I'm going to try to get down to the Rogers Center early, probably grab a bite to eat around there, grab some drinks, and then head down to check out the renovations and for batting practice. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up now. Thanks to each and every one of you that were in here. Enjoy the game. Happy Easter once again. Nick and I will see you on the post-game stream or video, whatever that may be. And, go Jays.